Welcome to today's edition of 3 Minute Halacha. When it comes to the brachot of mizonot or hamotzi, we know that they apply to the five grains, wheat, barley, spelt, oats, and rye, and depend on how the food was prepared. Sometimes you'd make a motzi, and sometimes you'd make a mizonot. But what about rice? Rice is also a grain, just not one of the five. What bracha should it receive? There is a debate in Chazal based on an uncertainty about two types of grain, one called orez and the other called dochen. Orez is identified as receiving a bracha of mizonot, and dochen receives a bracha of shahakol. The question is, which one is rice and which one is millet? Because there is this debate, the Bach rules that we should always eat rice or millet within a meal. When we've already made a motzi and another bracha is not necessary. And the Shulchan Aruch Harav actually rules that if we are eating rice by itself, we should say a shahakol, the catch-all, first bracha, because of the doubt. Nevertheless, the majority of poskim maintain that orez is rice and dochen is millet, and therefore the brachan rice should be mizonot when it's cooked because it's a filling grain, even though it's not one of the five. While raw or toasted rice would receive the bracha of borei pri adama. And interestingly, the final bracha, even if you're having cooked rice with a mizonot as the bracha, is still a borei nefashot. The reason for that is the typical bracha known as the alamichya, the me'ein shalosh, is reserved for the five grains, not rice, the seventh species, and also wine. However, if by accident, after eating cooked rice, a person were to make an alamichya, or even bench, that person would still be yotzei. See the Rivavot Ephraim, Volume 7, Tshuva 76, Paragraph 1. Interestingly, Rav Moshe Feinstein, in his Igrot Moshe or Chaim, the fourth volume, the 45th Tshuva, writes that puffed kernels of rice are an adama as well, because rice cakes are made from puffed rice. It would seem to be that on a rice cake you would only make a borei pri adama. However, Rav Yisrael Belsky said in the name of Rav Moshe that the correct bracha for rice cakes should be a mizonot, just like cooked rice. Because even though it comes from puffed rice, and individual puffed rice is ha'adama, in this case, the rice fuses together and forms a cake, and therefore it's much more like cooked rice that sticks together, and the bracha over rice cakes should be a mizonot.